The isolation was your initiation, the mystery of the sacred filter. My friends, there is a specific ache that many of you have carried since the moment you became conscious of your own existence. It is the feeling of being a stranger in a familiar land. You have sat at dinner tables, surrounded by family, and felt 1,000 miles away. You have walked through crowded streets and felt like a ghost among the living. You have been called the black sheep, the odd one, or the outsider. And for years you have looked at this isolation as a wound. You have asked, Father, why am I so alone? Why do I not fit into the gears of this world? But tonight I am here to tell you the truth. That isolation was not a mistake. It was not a punishment for some imagined sin, nor was it a flaw in your personality. It was a divine quarantine. You were kept apart by a wisdom far greater than your human mind could grasp. You were placed in a sacred filter so the programs of the world, the rhythms of lack, the songs of limitation, and the hypnotic trance of the masses would not take root in your soul. If you had fit in, you would have been infected. If you had been accepted by the crowd, you would have been absorbed by the crowd. You had to be rejected by the world of Caesar so that you could be found by the world of the Spirit. The purpose of the divine quarantine, consider the master gardener. When he discovers a rare, exotic seed, a seed that carries the potential for a bloom unlike anything the world has ever seen, he does not plant it in the middle of a common field. He does not allow the weeds to choke it or the common grass to overshadow it. No, he places that seed in a controlled environment. He isolates it. He protects it from the cross-pollination of lesser species. You are that rare seed. Your loneliness was the walls of the greenhouse. While you were crying out for company, your internal frequency was being calibrated. You were being tuned to a higher station. If you had spent your youth at the parties of the popular, or if you had found comfort in the standard ambitions of your peers, your ears would have grown deaf to the still small voice. You had to be silenced so that you could hear the music of the spheres. Most people are nothing more than a collection of other people's opinions. They dress, think, and act according to the standard broadcast of their culture. They are clothed in the garments of their ancestors' fears. But you were kept naked. You were kept in a state of sensory deprivation so that when the time came for you to be clothed, you would be clothed in the consciousness of the Creator. Your isolation was the removal of the old programs. It was the old learning that had to happen before the true learning could begin. The sacred filter of loneliness, I want you to re-examine your history through this lens. Think of the times you were excluded. Think of the friendships that withered for no apparent reason. Think of the lovers who could not understand the depth of your soul. At the time, it felt like rejection. Tonight, I want you to see it as protection. Every person who left your life was a program that was no longer compatible with the frequency you were becoming. Every door that slammed in your face was a room filled with a virus that would have stunted your growth. The universe was filtering your environment. It was ensuring that only those who resonated with your mark could stay. And since your mark is rare, your circle became small. Do not mourn the smallness of your circle. A diamond does not envy the abundance of the gravel. You are being prepared for a specific mission, a mission that requires a mind that is not polluted by the common beliefs of the world. You are here to be a bridge, and a bridge must be anchored in something much deeper than the shifting sands of social approval. The calibration of the frequency. While you were in the desert of your isolation, you were undergoing a frequency calibration. You see, my friends, the chosen one is simply the one who has been chosen by their own soul to wake up. But to wake up in a world that is fast asleep is a violent process. It requires a nervous system that can handle the voltage of the divine. If you had been distracted by the noise of a busy social life, the voltage would have burned you out. You needed the silence of the quarantine to build your internal capacity. You needed to learn how to find your own light in the darkness, so that when the world eventually falls into darkness, you can be the one to guide them. You were being taught the art of self-sovereignty. You were being taught that your AM does not depend on the they say. You were being forced to look inward because there was nothing left to look at outward. This was the initiation. This was the test. Can you still believe in your own divinity when no one else sees it? Can you still claim your wealth when the world calls you poor? Can you still claim your health when the body feels weak? By being alone, you were forced to make the imagination your only reality. You had to talk to the Father in the silence because there was no one else to talk to. And in those conversations, the bridge was built. Accepting the mantle. My friends, the quarantine is coming to an end. The period of calibration is almost complete. You are beginning to notice that you no longer want to fit in. The desire for the approval of the crowd has been burned out of you. You have discovered that being the black sheep means you are the only one in the family who is truly free. Stop looking at your past with regret. Stop apologizing for your weirdness. Your weirdness is the frequency of the new world. It is the signature of your origin. You are not from here. You are only visiting here to perform a task. And you cannot perform that task if you are wearing the uniform of the locals. Embrace the silence. Honor the isolation. It was the greatest gift the Father could give you. It was the sacred filter that kept your soul pure for the work ahead. You are not lonely. You are set apart. You are not rejected. You are reserved. The time of hiding is over. The initiation is done. You have been tested in the fire of loneliness, and you have come out as gold. Now, stand in your authority. The world didn't choose you, so the world cannot dismiss you. You were chosen by the only one who matters, the I am within you. The weight of the mark, the frequency that triggers the world. My friends, we must speak of a burden that few understand and even fewer can explain. You have walked into rooms and felt the atmosphere shift. You have offered nothing but kindness, yet you have been met with a coldness that felt like a blade. You have noticed that people rarely feel neutral about you. They either gravitate toward you with a hunger they cannot name, or they recoil from you with a hostility they cannot justify. You have spent years wondering what is wrong with your face, your voice, or your manner. But I am here to tell you there is nothing wrong with the vessel. The reaction you receive is the weight of the mark. Being chosen is not a crown of gold that you wear for the admiration of the world. It is a mantle of fire. You carry a specific mark in your energy field, a frequency of truth that vibrates at a pitch the word of Caesar cannot ignore. This mark is not something you earn through effort. It is the signature of your awakening. It is the evidence that you have begun to remember who you are. And because you are beginning to remember, you have become a walking, breathing mirror for every soul you encounter. The mirror of the soul. Consider the nature of a mirror. A mirror has no opinion of its own. It simply reflects what is placed before it. If a man who is beautiful stands before the glass, he loves the mirror. He calls it good and true. But if a man who is covered in the scars of his own bitterness stands before that same glass, he hates the mirror. He wants to smash it. He wants to cover it with a cloth. He blames the glass for the image it reveals. You, my friends, are that mirror. When you walk into a space, your frequency, that mark, automatically illuminates the hidden corners of the people around you. You are a living light, and light, by its very nature, exposes the shadows. Most people in this world are living in a state of deep hypnotic sleep. They have spent decades burying their guilt, their lack, and their unfulfilled desires beneath a mask of social conformity. Then you walk in, you who do not play their games, you who carry the silence of the I am in your eyes. Your mere presence acts as a silent demand for them to be honest. Your frequency triggers their dormant potential, but it also triggers their repressed pain. This is why people feel threatened by you without reason. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to the uncomfortable truth of themselves that your light has brought to the surface. They sense that they cannot lie in your presence, and to a man who lives a lie, the truth teller is an enemy. The two reactions, love and hostility, you will notice that the chosen experience two distinct poles of human interaction. There is the intense love, the people who feel an immediate soul-level recognition. These are the seekers, the ones who are ready to wake up. They see the mark on you and they feel hope. They want to be near you because your frequency reminds them of the home they forgot they had. They are drawn to the warmth of your fire because they are ready to burn away their own rags. But then there is the irrational hostility. This is the reaction of those who are deeply invested in their sleep. When your frequency hits their energy field, it feels to them like an alarm clock at 4 a.m. It is jarring. It is painful. Because they are not ready to change, they translate that internal discomfort into external blame. They will gossip about you. They will find flaws in your character. They will try to dim your light so they can go back to sleep in the dark. Do not take their arrows personally. A lighthouse does not take it personally when the storm-tossed sailor curses the rocks it reveals. The lighthouse simply remains. You must learn to carry the weight of the mark with a divine indifference. You are not here to be light. You are here to be a catalyst. You are here to represent a law that does not bend for the comfort of the ego. The mantle of responsibility, the mark is a weight because it requires you to be hyper vigilant of your own internal state. If you are a mirror, you must keep your own glass clean. You cannot afford the luxury of harboring the same petty grievances, the same fears of lack, and the same judgments as the world of Caesar. If you carry the mark and you fill your imagination with shadows, you will project those shadows with a power that can be devastating. You have noticed that when you are in a bad mood, the world around you seems to fall apart faster than it does for others. When you have a negative thought about someone, they seem to act it out almost immediately. This is because your mark is a sign of your authority over the world of form. Your word is decree. Your feeling is law. This is why you were kept in quarantine, to learn the discipline required to carry this power. The weight is the realization that you are no longer a private citizen of the earth. You are an ambassador of the infinite. Every movement of your consciousness ripples through the collective. You are being asked to carry this frequency with grace, even when it makes you a target. You are being asked to forgive those who trigger on you, for they truly do not know what they are doing. They are simply responding to the light, and the light is always judging the darkness just by being present. Walking in the world, not of it, my friend. Stop trying to soften your mark to fit in. Stop trying to turn down your volume so that others can sleep comfortably. That is a betrayal of your mission. You were given this frequency because the world needs to be triggered. It needs the mirrors. It needs the reminders that there is something more than the struggle for bread and the fear of death. When you feel the weight, when you feel the isolation that comes from being a mirror, return to the I am. Remember that the mark is not a burden you carry alone. It is the Father's signature upon you. It is the evidence of his presence. If the world hates you, remember that it hated the truth in every age. But also remember that the few who love you will love you with a depth that the world cannot understand. You are a walking sanctuary. You are a frequency transmitter. You are the salt of the earth. Carry your mark with pride. Wear your mantle with dignity. Do not fear the reactions of the sleeping. Simply shine. For the light is its own justification, and the mirror only tells the truth. Your trial by fire was the training, the mystery of the load-bearing soul. My friends, we come now to the chapter of your life that you have most often misunderstood. We must speak of the trial by fire. I know the stories you tell yourselves in the dark hours of the night. I know the list of grievances you have held against the universe. You look back at the extreme hardships, the staggering betrayals by those you trusted most, and those moments of total, crushing loss where it felt as though the very floor of your existence had been pulled out from under you. You looked at these events and you cried out, "Why me? What have I done to deserve this punishment?" But I am here to tell you, with the authority of the Spirit, that you were never being punished. You were being prepared. What you called tragedy was actually a series of load-bearing tests. You see, the universe is a master architect, and it never places a massive structure upon a foundation that has not been proven. You are being groomed for a level of spiritual power and a depth of authority that would shatter an ordinary man. You are being prepared to lead others through their own valleys of the shadow, and you cannot lead someone through a darkness that you have not first conquered within yourself. Your trial by fire was not an accident. It was your training. The alchemy of pressure. Consider the diamond. A diamond is nothing more than a piece of carbon that handled pressure exceptionally well. It did not complain when the earth pressed down upon it with a weight that would have crushed lesser stones into dust. It stayed in the heat. It remained in the darkness. And because it endured the pressure, its molecular structure changed. It became transparent. It became indestructible. It became a vessel that could catch and refract the light of the sun. You are that carbon. The extreme hardships you faced were the hands of the great alchemist pressing against your soul. The universe needed to see how much pressure you could withstand before you were given the gold of the kingdom. If you are to be a pillar in the temple of the living God, you must be a pillar that cannot be shaken by the winds of the world of Caesar. Every betrayal was a test of your ability to remain anchored in your aim when they say turned against you. Every loss was a test of your ability to know yourself as the source, even when the reflections of that source were stripped away. You had to learn that your security does not come from your bank account, your reputation, or your relationships. It comes from the indestructible life within you. You were being taught that you are the potter, not the clay. But to know yourself as the potter, you had to see the clay shattered and realize that you were still standing. The load-bearing test in the world of architecture. Before a bridge is open to the public, the engineers conduct what is known as a load-bearing test. They drive massive weights onto the structure, weights far heavier than anything the bridge will actually have to carry in its daily life. They do this to find the breaking point. They do this to ensure that the bridge is safe for the thousands of souls who will depend on it for their passage. My friends, you are a bridge. You are chosen one, designed to carry the consciousness of a new era. You are here to lead a collective of souls out of the desert of lack and into the promised land of the imagination. Such a role requires a foundation of steel. If you had not been tested, if your life had been one of constant, easy comfort, you would have collapsed the moment you tried to carry the weight of another's doubt. Your betrayals taught you the power of self-reliance. Your losses taught you the power of resurrection. Your hardships taught you that there is a voltage within you that burns brighter than any external fire. The universe was not trying to break you. It was trying to see what was unbreakable in you. And now that you have survived the fire, you have earned the right to speak with authority to those who are still in the flames. Strength through suffering, the sacred scar. There is a beauty in a soul that has been tested. In Japan, there is an art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. The masters of this art believe that the piece is more beautiful for having been broken. The scars are not hidden, they are highlighted. They are the evidence of a history. Your scars are your credentials. When you speak to a soul in despair, you do not speak from a place of theory. You do not offer the hollow platitudes of the comfortable. You speak from the authority of the scar. You can look them in the eye and say, I have been where you are. I have felt the fire, and I am telling you that it cannot consume you. This is the power you have gained. You have traded your innocence for wisdom and your comfort for command. Stop looking at your past with a sense of victimhood. A victim is someone who believes that things happen to them. A master is someone who knows that things happen for them. Every tear you shed was a drop of oil for the lamp of your consciousness. Every night of despair was a womb for the birth of your current strength. You were being tempered like a blade in the forge, so that you would be sharp enough to cut through the illusions of the world. The power to lead through darkness. The world is entering a period of great shaking. The old structures of Caesar are trembling. People are terrified because they have built their houses on the shifting sands of external things. In this time, they will look for the proven souls. They will look for those who have already walked through the fire and come out singing. You are being given the power to lead because you have proven that you can withstand the pressure. You have been calibrated to a frequency that is not disturbed by the shadows on the screen of space. Your trial by fire was the price of your ticket to the front lines of the quiet revolution. You have seen the worst that the world of form can do, and you have discovered that it is a shadow with no life of its own. Do not resent your training. Do not wish for a softer past. If your past had been softer, your future would be smaller. You were given the heavy training because you were destined for the heavy lifting. The universe has found you to be a reliable vessel. You have passed the load-bearing test. Now stand in your power. Use the strength you have forged in the darkness to illuminate the world. Your training is over. Your ministry of light has begun. The law of divine discomfort, the sacred rejection of mediocrity. My friends, have you ever wondered why, just when you think you have finally settled into a comfortable routine, the world seems to conspire to shake you out of it? You find a job that is safe, and suddenly the company dissolves. You enter a relationship that is convenient, and it becomes a source of unbearable friction. You try to shrink your desires to fit a modest, quiet life, and the very walls of that life begin to crumble around you. You cry out for peace, for stability, for just a moment of normalcy, and yet the universe responds with chaos. I am here to tell you that this chaos is not your enemy. It is the law of divine discomfort. You see, There are some souls in this world who are permitted to live in the shallows. They are allowed to be content with the standard broadcast of existence, the mortgage, the mundane conversation, the slow crawl toward retirement. But you are not one of them. You have been marked for expansion. And because you are destined for the heights, the universe will never allow you to be comfortable in the valleys. Every time you try to settle for a mediocre life, the Father within you creates an earthquake to wake you up. You are no longer allowed to be comfortable in small spaces. The compass of agitation, most people view discomfort as a sign that something is wrong. They see anxiety, restlessness, or a sudden streak of bad luck as a signal to retreat and play even smaller. But for the chosen one, discomfort is a compass. It is the divine way of pointing you toward your next level of expansion. When you feel that knowing sense of, there must be more than this. Even when your life looks perfect on paper, that is not a character flaw. That is the Spirit of God within you, straining against the bars of your current assumption. Think of the chick inside the egg. To the chick, the shell is its entire world. It is safe, it is warm, it is predictable. But there comes a moment when the chick grows too large for the shell. If it stays inside, it will die. The very walls that once protected it have now become a tomb. The chick begins to peck at the shell, experiencing an agonizing discomfort. It is not trying to destroy its world. It is trying to be born. Your chaos is simply the pecking at the shell. The universe is making your current reality uninhabitable because you have outgrown it. You are trying to live in an average identity when your true nature is infinite. The friction you feel is the mismatch between your small thoughts and your great destiny. If you don't move voluntarily, the fire under you will stay lit until the heat becomes so intense that you have no choice but to leap into the unknown. The rejection of the normal. Society is designed to keep you in the middle. It rewards normalcy and punishes centricity. It tells you that to be happy, you must be balanced. But I tell you, there is no balance in a growing soul. Growth is an explosive, lopsided, and often messy process. You were not born to be balanced in a mediocre world. You were born to be extreme in the world of the Spirit. When you try to act normal, you are wearing a mask that is too small for your face. You are trying to speak a language that is too simple for your wisdom. And the law of being will not have it. Every time you say, I'll just take this easy job because it's secure, the universe will make that job a living hell. Every time you say, I'll stay in this relationship because it's better than being alone, the universe will magnify the loneliness you feel while standing right next to that person. The universe is rejecting your mediocrity. It is refusing to let you waste your divine energy on things that do not require your full power. You are a high-voltage transmitter trying to power a single light bulb. The bulb will blow every single time. You must find a grid that can handle your current. You must seek the great and stop apologizing for your disdain for the small. The fire under the feet, many of you are waiting for a sign to move. You are waiting for the perfect time to launch that business, to write that book, or to claim that new identity. But the universe doesn't always send signs in the form of open doors. It often sends signs in the form of closing doors. It sets the fire under your feet to get you moving. If you refuse to move, the fire will only get hotter. The bad luck, the disasters, and the betrayals will increase in frequency until you finally surrender and say, fine, I will go. Do not wait for the fire to burn you. Recognize the warmth for what it is, an invitation to expand. Your discomfort is the evidence of your potential. If you had no potential for greatness, you would be perfectly happy with a mediocre life. The very fact that you are miserable in your smallness is the proof that you were made for greatness. Embracing the chaos, my friends, stop trying to fix the chaos in your life. Stop trying to find a way back to the comfortable person you used to be. That person is dead. You have crossed the threshold where the old life can no longer sustain you. Instead of fighting the discomfort, lean into it. Ask yourself, if this discomfort is a compass, where is it telling me to go? What part of my life am I clutching that I need to let go of? You are being propelled into a life that is so much larger than your current imagination can conceive. The chaos is merely the demolition crew, clearing the site for your new palace. You cannot build a mansion on the foundation of a shack. The shack must be torn down. The dust must fly. The noise must be loud. Celebrate your discomfort. It is the mark of your initiation. It is the universe's way of saying, I have more for you. I will not let you settle. I will not let you sleep. You are being forced to become the person you were born to be. You are a genetic bridge, the mystery of the ancestral pattern breaker. My friends, we come now to a truth that will explain the profound weight you have felt upon your shoulders since you were a small child. Have you ever looked at your family tree, not just the names and the dates, but the recurring themes of their lives, and felt a strange, heavy sense of repetition? Have you noticed the cycles of lack, the patterns of addiction, the recurring betrayals, or the silent, suffocating clouds of depression that seem to pass from father to son and from mother to daughter like a grim inheritance? You have often wondered why your life felt so much more difficult than those around you. You wondered why you had to fight so hard for the peace that others seemed to possess by birthright. Tonight, I am here to tell you, you are not a victim of your lineage. You are the genetic bridge. You were chosen to be the cleanup crew. For your entire bloodline, you are the one who stood at the end of a centuries-old line of trauma and said, "It stops with me." You are the bridge across which your ancestors are walking from the darkness of their unfulfilled desires into the light of conscious realization. You are the ancestral pattern breaker, the burden of the unfinished symphony. Every thought your grandfather had and didn't resolve, every fear your grandmother carried but couldn't face, and every dream your parents abandoned out of survival. All of that energy did not simply vanish. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. That unresolved emotional energy was woven into the very fabric of your DNA. It became a silent script that your family has been acting out for generations. Most of your relatives are asleep. They are merely actors playing the roles assigned to them by their ancestors. They repeat the same arguments. They marry the same types of people, and they die with the same regrets. But then you were born. You were born with a glitch in the program. You were born with a restlessness that would not allow you to accept the family script. You were the chosen one because your soul was strong enough to carry the weight of all that unfinished business and still seek the light. When you feel an unearned sadness or a fear that doesn't seem to belong to your current circumstances, you are often feeling the echoes of those who came before you. You are feeling the who lived lives of your bloodline. You are given this sensitivity not to suffer, but so that you could identify the patterns and neutralize them through the power of your own consciousness. The cross-generational healing, Neville Goddard taught us that everything is now. There is no past and there is no future. There is only the ever-present moment of I am. Because of this, when you heal a trauma within yourself, you are not just healing your own biography. You are performing a cosmic surgery on the entire timeline of your family. When you finally realize your own worth and walk away from a cycle of poverty, you are reaching back in time and releasing the grandfather who died in lack. You are changing the vibration of the family name. When you heal your heart and choose a love based on respect rather than dependency, you are setting free the spirits of the women in your line who were trapped in silence. The work you do in the privacy of your own imagination, the revision of your childhood, the assumption of your greatness is a gift to your ancestors. You are the redeemer of your bloodline. They are watching through your eyes, waiting for you to make the choice they were too afraid to make. Every time you stand in your authority and claim your divinity, the entire tree behind you shudders with a sense of relief. You are the one they were waiting for, the safety of the generations to come. But the bridge does not only look backward, it looks forward. By breaking these ancestral patterns, you are ensuring that the children who come through your line, whether they are your physical children or the spiritual children of your influence, will never have to fight the battles you fought. You are clearing the energetic debris from the path so that they can run. You have been the sacrificial lamb of your family, taking the hits of the trauma so that the cycle ends with you. It has been a lonely, exhausting role. You have often felt like you were carrying a mountain on your back while everyone else was walking unburdened. But look at the strength you have developed. Look at the load-bearing capacity of your soul. You are a master builder. You are creating a new foundation that is made of the solid rock of consciousness rather than the shifting sands of hereditary fear. Your life is the great turning point. Before you, there was a history of being acted upon by fate. After you, there is a future of creating through the imagination. You are the point of departure. You have taken the leaden weights of your family's past, and through the alchemy of your own awakening, you are turning them into the gold of a new legacy. Embracing the role of the bridge, my friends, do not resent your family for the burdens they passed to you. They could only give you what they had. Instead, look at them with the eyes of the Father. See them as parts of yourself that were lost in the dark. As you walk across the bridge of your own transformation, turn back and extend your hand, not by trying to change them in the word of Caesar, for that is a waste of time, but by changing the concept of self that you hold for your entire lineage. Claim that your family is a line of kings. Claim that your ancestors are now resting in the peace of your realization. Claim that your descendants are born into a world of infinite supply and divine protection. You are the genetic bridge. You are the one who stood at the edge of the abyss and built a way across. The trauma is dissolving. The patterns are breaking. The cleanup crew has finished its work. You are free, and in your freedom, your entire history is reborn. The observer. Affect the accelerated reality of the chosen one. My friends, we come now to a law that is as scientific as it is spiritual. It is the law of the observer effect. You have lived your life noticing a strange and sometimes terrifying phenomenon. You have seen that when you truly fix your mind on a thing, whether it is a deep desire or a paralyzing fear, that thing appears in your world with a speed that defies logic. You have watched your casual thoughts manifest as phone calls within minutes. You have seen your inner anxieties take shape as physical obstacles before the day is even out. You have looked at others who seem to get away with negative thinking for years while you are corrected by the universe almost instantly. Tonight I am here to tell you why. It is because of your specific energetic makeup. You are not a passive observer of reality. You are an accelerated creator. The world of Caesar tells you that the universe is a solid, fixed machine that exists outside of you. But the truth that everything includes, is that reality is a fluid, shimmering field of infinite probabilities. It is like a vast sea of unformed clay waiting for a command. And your focus is the hand that molds it, because you are a chosen one, because you have been marked and calibrated through your isolation and your trials. Your internal voltage is much higher than the average person. Your consciousness is not a flashlight, it is a laser. The collapse of the wave function in the realm of quantum physics, they have discovered that a particle does not decide where to be until a conscious observer looks at it. Before the observation, it exists in a wave of possibility. The moment the observer focuses, the wave collapses into a single physical point. For you, this collapse happens with lightning speed, because you have stripped away the layers of ancestral noise and worldly programs. There is very little resistance between your imagination and your external world. When you think, the universe listens with an intensity that is breathtaking. Your focus acts as a psychic gravitational pull. You do not just see reality, you command it to solidify. This is why your manifestations happen faster than others. You are operating on a high frequency bandwidth, while others are sending signals through a dial-up connection of doubt and hesitation. You are connected to the fiber optic network of the divine. But with this high-speed connection comes a grave responsibility. You must realize that the observer effect works both ways. The danger of the undisciplined mind. A chosen one with an undisciplined mind is like a child playing with a lev-high voltage wire. Most people can indulge in a bit of victim thinking or a poverty mindset and only see the results years down the line. They have a buffer of time because their energy is diluted by the masses. But you have no such buffer. Your mind is so creative and your focus is so powerful that you are a danger to yourself if you do not master your internal dialogue. If you dwell on the idea that people are out to get you, you will literally create enemies out of thin air. If you focus on the rising costs and the scarcity of the world, you will find your own resources drying up with a speed that will leave you gasping. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. You cannot afford to vent your frustrations or wallow in self-pity. For as you speak these things, you are issuing a royal decree to the universe to promote the same. You must become a sentinel at the doorway of your mind. You must watch every thought as if it were a loaded weapon. You must ask yourself, do I want this thought to become a physical fact? If the answer is no, you must withdraw your attention from it immediately. You do not fight the thought. You simply observe it. You return to I am. The precision of your focus, your life has been a series of constant mirrors. Every time you have felt a deep inner sense of I love you, the world has provided. Every time you have felt unwanted, the world has reflected that rejection. You are beginning to see that there is no out there. There is only the observer and the observed, and they are one. This is why your training was so intense. You had to be taught the hard way that your focus is the only cause. The universe tried to show you that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Now that you know this, you must step into your role as a conscious observer. Stop looking at the world to see what is happening. Start telling the world what is happening. Use your laser-like focus to collapse the waves of probability that you desire. Instead of observing the depth, observe the abundance. Instead of observing the loneliness, observe the divine union. Because your energy is accelerated, you will find that the world rearranges itself to match your new focus with a speed that will astound you. Mastering the high-frequency life, you are a chosen one because you have the capacity to hold a vision until it becomes a fact. You have the voltage to power a new reality, but you must stay grounded in the silence. Do not scatter your energy in idle talk or worldly debates. Keep your observer eye fixed on the finished result. Everything in your reality is highly responsive to you. The people, the money, the opportunities, they are all waiting for your focus to give them their orders. You are the master of the observer. Effect, your mind is the most powerful tool in the universe. Master it, and you master the world. The withdrawal of the old support. The sovereignty shift into mastery. My friends, we must address a specific and often painful phenomenon that has been unfolding in your life over the past few months or years. You have noticed a strange, systematic emptying of your world. Perhaps it was a mentor who suddenly became distant, or whose advice no longer seems to carry the weight it once did. Perhaps it was a circle of friends that simply drifted away, leaving you standing alone in a silence you didn't ask for. You may have even felt the heavens grow quiet, as if the spiritual guidance and the clear signs you once relied upon have been retracted. You feel as though the safety nets have been cut, the crutches have been taken away, and you have been left to navigate a dark forest without a map. I am here to tell you this is not a tragedy. It is the sovereignty shift. You have moved into the mastery phase of your evolution. In the earlier stages of your journey, the universe provided you with external support systems. It gave you teachers, it gave you groups, and it gave you spiritual confirmations to encourage you along the path. These were the training wheels on the bicycle of your soul. But a master cannot remain on training wheels forever. There comes a moment when the Father says, "It is time for you to know that you are the source." To give you that realization, he must remove everything you have been leaning on. The death of the intermediate. Most people spend their entire lives looking for a mediator. They look for a priest, a guru, a government, or a lucky break to stand between them and their desires. They believe that their good must come through something or someone. This is the great illusion of the world of Caesar. It is the belief that there is a second cause. But you, the chosen one, are being taught that there is only one cause, and that cause is your own wonderful human imagination. As long as you have a support system to lean on, you will never fully test the strength of your own I am. If the mentor is always there to give the answer, you will never listen to the voice within. If the friends are always there to validate your choices, you will never learn to stand in your own authority. The withdrawal of the old support is a divine vote of confidence. The universe is saying to you, you are no longer a student. You are an authority. You are no longer a seeker. You are the source. The crutches were removed not to make you fall, but because the universe saw that you were already standing on your own power. You just didn't know it yet. The loneliness of sovereignty. This shift often brings with it a profound sense of isolation. It is the loneliness of the king. When you are no longer looking to the left or the right for approval, you find that the path becomes very narrow. You may feel a sense of grief for the old ways of being supported. You may even try to go back and mend those old connections, only to find that the vibration is no longer there. The bridge has been burned behind you. This isolation is the chamber of sovereignty. It is here, in the absence of external noise, that you finally begin to feel the weight of your own word. When there is no one else to consult, you are forced to consult the Father within. You are forced to make decisions based on your own internal vision rather than social consensus. This is how a master is born. You are being weaned off the milk of external validation so that you can begin to eat the strong meat of conscious creation. You are being taught that you are not connected to the source. You are the source. If money leaves, you do not look for a new job, you look within to the state of abundance. If a relationship leaves, you do not look for a new partner, you look within to the state of divine union. The withdrawal is designed to prove to you that no matter what is taken away from the screen of space, the projector, which is your consciousness, remains intact and all-powerful. The shift from through to ace in the support phase, you prayed to a god or through a technique to get a result. In the mastery phase, you speak AS God. You realize that your I am is the very life force that created the stars. There is no longer a gap between the desire and the fulfillment. The mentors and friends had to leave because they represented your old identity. The version of you that needed help. To stay in those circles would have been to stay in the frequency of the one who needs. But you are now the one who provides. You are the light of the world. You are no longer here to be supported. You are here to be the support for the new world that is coming. Do not mourn the loss of the old structures. They served their purpose. They held you up while your bones were soft. But now, your spirit has hardened into a diamond. You are a sovereign soul. You are the master of your fate. The withdrawal of the old support was the final curtain call for the small you. The stage is now empty, the lights are on, and the universe is waiting for you to take the lead. Walk out onto that stage with your head held high. Do not look for a hand to hold. Feel the power of your own feet on the floor. Feel the authority of your own breath. You are the source. You are the king. The sovereignty shift is complete. Now begin to rule your kingdom. The recognition of synchronicity, deciphering the cosmic code, my friends. We come now to the most beautiful and mysterious language you will ever learn to speak. It is the language of synchronicity. For a long time, you walked through this world believing that the events of your day were random. You believed that the numbers you saw on the clock, the specific songs that played on the radio when you were in deep thought, or the chance encounters with strangers who spoke the exact words you needed to hear, were merely coincidences. You dismissed them as the brain's attempt to find patterns in the noise. But as you have moved into your chosen state, these occurrences have become too frequent, too precise, and too emotionally resonant to be ignored. Tonight I am here to tell you the universe is no longer whispering. It is speaking to you with a celestial navigation system that is highly sophisticated and perfectly timed. You are being told everything through the world around you. You see, my friends, when you stop living as a victim of circumstances and start living as a conscious creator, the veil between your internal world and the external world begins to dissolve. You realize that the world there is nothing more than your own consciousness pushed out. Therefore, every detail of the world is a feedback loop. Every symbol is a message. You are never walking alone. You are walking in a world that is constantly reflecting your own evolution back to you. This is the cosmic code, the language of the divine whisper. Why does the universe speak in symbols? Why does it use 1111 or a specific bird or a recurring phrase to catch your attention? It is because the subconscious mind, the Father within, does not speak in the dry, analytical language of the human intellect. It speaks in images, vibrations, and patterns. When you see a repeating number, or when you find yourself repeatedly hearing the same message from 3 different sources in a single day, the universe is pinging your consciousness. It is saying, pay attention. You are in alignment. It is a confirmation that your internal frequency is successfully manifesting in the field of form. It is the universe's way of nodding its head and saying, yes, I hear you. The seed is growing. You are on the right path. Think of a pilot flying through a dense fog. He cannot see the ground, and he cannot see the destination with his physical eyes. But he has his instruments. He has the pings of the radar. He has the navigation codes. As long as he stays tuned to the correct frequency, the instruments will guide him home safely. Your synchronicities are your flight instruments. They are telling you that even when the world looks foggy, even when you cannot see how your dream will manifest, the navigation system is locked on. The mirror of the now. The most profound realization of the chosen one is that there is no accident. Every person you meet is a messenger. Every delay you experience is a divine redirection. Every lucky break is a direct result of an internal shift in your feeling nature. You must begin to treat the world as a living oracle. If you are feeling a sense of lack and you walk outside only to see a closed sign or a withered tree, do not judge the world. Recognize it as the code reflecting your current state. If you shift your internal feeling to abundance, and suddenly you see a field of blooming flowers or a stranger hands you a gift, recognize that the code has updated. You are being told everything because you have reached a level of sensitivity where you can actually read the screen of space. You are no longer just an actor in the play. You are the playwright who is beginning to recognize your own dialogue being spoken back to you. When you see synchronicities, do not just say, "How cool." Instead, go within and say, "Thank you, Father, for the confirmation of my state." Deciphering the cosmic code, how do you decipher this code? You do it through feeling. When a synchronicity occurs, it always carries a specific emotional charge. It feels like a click in your soul. It feels like a warm yes in your chest. That feeling is the true translation. The symbols themselves may change. One day it is a sequence of numbers, the next day it is a specific dream, but the feeling of being guided remains constant. You have been chosen to understand this language because you are no longer distracted by the noise of the world, because you have been through the isolation and the trial by fire. Your internal radar is clean. You can hear the whisper because you have silenced the scream. You are now part of a sophisticated dialogue between the creator and the creation. Stop looking for signs with a sense of neediness. If you are looking for a sign because you are afraid, you will only see signs of fear. Instead, look for them with the joy of discovery. Treat it as a game of hide and seek with the divine. The more you acknowledge the synchronicities, the more frequent they will become. You are training your reality to be more and more responsive to your presence. The guided path. My friends, you are never lost. You are never off track. Even the moments that felt like wrong turns were part of the celestial navigation to get you to this very moment of realization. The universe is whispering everything to you because you are finally ready to listen. Watch the world tomorrow. Listen to the casual remarks of strangers. Pay attention to the patterns in the numbers. Recognize that the entire world is a love letter written by your own consciousness, guiding you back to the realization of your own power. The cosmic code is active. The navigation is set. You are being guided home. Your true mission, the quiet revolution of being. My friends, we come now to the most profound revelation of all. We must speak of your true mission. For so long, you have been searching for a task to perform. You have looked at the world of Caesar and thought that to be chosen meant you must achieve a grand title, write a famous book, or stand upon a physical stage before thousands of people. You have measured your purpose by the standard of doing. You have asked, "Father, what must I do to fulfill my destiny?" But I am here to tell you that your mission has almost nothing to do with doing. Your mission is simply to be. You are a part of a quiet revolution. You are a walking, breathing frequency transmitter. You have been designed by the infinite to be a catalyst, a soul whose mere presence in a room changes the molecular structure of that space. You do not need to speak a word. You do not need to perform a miracle. You simply need to occupy the state of your own divinity, and by doing so, you wake up the dormant codes in everyone you meet. This is the mystery of presence as a catalyst. The alchemy of the invisible presence. Consider the nature of a catalyst in a chemical reaction. A catalyst is a substance that, by its mere presence, accelerates a change in other elements without being consumed itself. It does not struggle to make the change happen. It does not work hard to convince the other molecules to transform. It simply exists in the same space, and because of its specific properties, the entire environment is forced to shift. You are the spiritual catalyst of the modern age. Because of the trial by fire, the isolation, and the Sabbath you have endured, your internal frequency has been raised to a pitch that the world of form cannot resist. When you walk into a grocery store, a boardroom, or a hospital, you are bringing the atmosphere of the kingdom with you. You are a localized field of grace. The people around you may not know why they suddenly feel a sense of peace when you stand near them. They may not understand why their own hidden anxieties suddenly rise to the surface for healing when you look them in the eye. They are simply responding to the voltage you carry. You are bleeding your consciousness into the collective. You are an anchor of light in a world of shadows, the wake-up call for dormant codes. Within every human being you encounter, there are dormant codes of divinity. These are the memories of their own I am that have been buried under layers of social programming, fear, and lack. Most people live and die without ever hearing those codes vibrate. But when they come into contact with a chosen one, someone who has successfully integrated their own light, those codes begin to hum. Your presence is a biological signal to their soul. It is a cosmic reminder. By your very existence, you are saying to the world, it is possible to be free. It is possible to be sovereign. It is possible to be God in form. You are a living proof of the law. You do not need to preach to them. Your life is the sermon. Your peace is the proof. Your abundance is the evidence. When you sit in a coffee shop, lost in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are projecting that frequency into the mind of the room. You are making it easier for everyone in that space to imagine their own success. You are lowering the resistance of the collective. This is the quiet revolution. We are not changing the world through politics or through force or through external arguments. We are changing the world from the inside out, one room at a time, one breath at a time. The weight of the silent ministry. This mission requires a great deal of spiritual poise. Because your presence is so influential, you can no longer afford to be casual with your energy. You cannot walk into a space and allow yourself to be infected by the low vibration gossip, the fear mongering, or the collective anger of the masses. If you do, you are not a catalyst. You are just another reactant in the solution. You must remain consecrated to your own state. You must be so anchored in the I am that instead of the world changing you, you change the world. This is what it means to be in the world, but not of it. You are a governor of frequency. You are responsible for the weather of your own soul, knowing that your internal weather becomes the climate for everyone in your vicinity. Have you noticed how babies or animals react to you? They are the most sensitive to the unconditioned state. They see the mark clearly. They are drawn to the frequency because it feels like home. This is your true ministry. It is a silent, invisible, and unstoppable movement of spirit. You are leaking the new heaven and the new earth into the old world through the pores of your skin. The sovereignty of being. Stop asking the world what you should do. Stop looking for a vocation that will make you feel important. You are already the most important thing in the universe, a conscious observer. Your mission is to hold the high note in a world that is singing out of tune. Every time you choose love over fear, every time you choose abundance over lack, and every time you choose the imagination over the senses, you are winning a battle in the quiet revolution. You are making it possible for the person standing next to you to make that same choice tomorrow. You are a pathfinder in the invisible. You are a chosen one, not to lead an army, but to lead a shift in consciousness. Your presence is the catalyst. Your being is the mission. Your aim is the victory, the final surrender, the no return point, and the birth of the sovereign. My friends, we have reached the end of the journey, and yet we have arrived at the only true beginning. We must speak of the final surrender. You have spent a lifetime looking over your shoulder, wondering if you could ever return to the normalcy you once knew. You have held on to a small piece of your old identity, like a man clutching a tattered coat in the middle of a summer heat wave. You have waited for the old you to feel comfortable with the new you. But tonight I am here to tell you that the old you is dead. The bridge has been burned. The path behind you has vanished into the mist. You have reached the no return point. This is the moment of total identity integration. Everything that we have discussed, the isolation, the trials, the triggers, the synchronicities, it all boils down to this single radical act. You must stop apologizing for your light. You must stop trying to negotiate with a world that no longer fits you. You must step into the authority you were born with and accept your role as a master of reality. The world is not waiting for your explanation. The world is waiting for your arrival. The death of the small self. In the ancient mysteries, the initiate had to undergo a symbolic death before they could receive the crown. They had to realize that the person who entered the temple could not be the same person who left it. You have been in the temple of transformation for a long time. You have felt the fires of the trial burning away your vanities and your dependencies. But many of you are still trying to carry the ashes of that old self into your new life. You ask, can I be a chosen one and still be liked by everyone? No. You ask, can I have this power and still play by the old rules of struggle? No. To accept the mantle is to accept the no return point. You can no longer pretend to be ignorant of the law. You can no longer pretend to be a victim of circumstances. The moment you realize that your consciousness is the only cause, you lost the right to complain. You lost the right to be small. The final surrender is not a surrender to an external God or a distant fate. It is the surrender of the small man. to the infinite I am. It is the total collapse of the ego's resistance to its own divinity. It is the moment you stop saying, I hope to be, and start saying with absolute conviction, I am, burning the bridges to the past. Why must the bridge be burned? Because the human mind, when faced with the pressure of expansion, will always try to retreat to the familiar. If you leave a path back to your old limitations, you will eventually walk it. The universe, in its infinite love for you, has burned that bridge. It has made your old life uninhabitable. It has made your old friendships feel hollow and your old ambitions feel like dust. This return point is a gift. It forces you to move forward. It forces you to find your security within, because there is nothing left to lean on without. You are like the explorers of old who burned their ships upon reaching the new shore. They had to conquer the new land or they would perish. There was no plan B. Your plan B was your small identity. It was your mediocrity. It was your apology for being different. Tonight we are setting fire to all of it. We are integrating the truth that you are the sovereign of your universe. You are not trying to manifest. You are the source of manifestation. You are not seeking the truth. You are the truth in action, stepping into the authority of the I am. What does it mean to stop hiding? It means you stop waiting for a permission slip to be powerful. It means you stop looking for a validation of your visions. It means you walk into every room with the internal knowledge that you are the highest authority in that space, not because of your ego, but because of the light you carry. When you speak with the weight of the word. When you desire, you know that the desire is the prophecy of its own fulfillment. You stop asking the world if you can have wealth or health or love. You command it by the sheer audacity of your assumption. This is the authority you were born with. This is the role you were chosen to play. The world is currently in a state of deep confusion. It is looking for anchors. It is looking for those who are not swayed by the shadows on the screen. By fully accepting your role, you become that anchor. You become the fixed point around which reality must rearrange itself. Your surrender is actually your enthronement, the integration of the master. Total identity integration means that there is no longer a private you, an spiritual you. You are the law 24 hours a day. Whether you are drinking a cup of coffee or making $1 million deal, you are doing it as the I am. You have integrated the mark, the isolation, and the frequency into a single seamless garment of being. You no longer look for signs, for you are the sign. You no longer wait for coincidences, for you are the coincidence. You have reached the Sabbath of your own identity. The struggle is over. The trial is finished. The training has produced its result. You are the chosen one, and everything has been told to you. The mystery is revealed. The power is yours. The bridge is gone. Now, walk. Close in the decree of the awakened, my friends. As you prepare to return to your world, do not go back as the one who arrived here. Go back as the sovereign. The final surrender is complete. You have given up the shadow to become the substance. Remember, the world has no power to resist the man or woman who has fully integrated their divine identity. The world is a mirror, and it must reflect the image of the master. Stop hiding your light under a bushel of normalcy. Shine with such a ferocity that the shadows have nowhere to hide. You are the cleanup crew. You are the bridge. You are the catalyst. You are the I am. The no return point is the most beautiful place in the universe, for it is here that you finally discover that you have nowhere to go but up. You have no one to be but God. And so it is. The work is finished. The King has returned. Peace be unto you.